Welcome back. Here we are on the journey for you finding your personal sense of purpose, fulfillment, your why. We're going to be channeling my main man, my mentor, one of my celebrity idols, Mr. Simon Sinek, with this video. That golden circle stuff, look back on it and realize you can indeed apply that to yourself. But one of the most important things to do as you're looking to create your own golden circle is, again, articulate that why at the center of your golden circle. That is the biggest challenge for people. If you recall the TED Talk, Simon said that that part of your brain that controls that sense of purpose is not connected to language. So it really takes some effort to articulate and explain our why. Thankfully, Mr. Sinek has a book out there called Find Your Why. It's an accompanying book to Start With Why, which that Golden Circle TED Talk is based on. He helps with a roadmap of how to start this journey of finding your why. And I want to give you some of those steps. And I encourage you to read the book because it's going to go in so much more detail than I could in a video. But I want to get you a jump start on the 3 steps Simon covers in Find Your Why. I hope you write these down and commit yourself to this exercise, because that's what it really is a workbook. It's an exercise to help you articulate your why statement. So let's get started here. The first step is to gather stories. One of the biggest things, according to Mr. Simon Sinek, is that your why, it's an origin story. Your why has been with you since you were a kid. Who you are is already in place. It's just up for us to rediscover that. So your why is an origin story. So to best unearth our why, we have to gather stories about ourselves. Preferably from your youth, stories that are really impactful for you, stories that you believe had a major impact on who you are today. You're going to want to reflect on your life and gather, let's say, 12, 15 stories. Things that were of major consequence, major influence for you. Now, how do you go about building this bank? Well, there's some exercises you can focus on. One of the ones that you can use is asking yourself the first time, the last time, the best, and the worst. 4 prompts for you to start thinking of some stories from your past. And now record these, give them a clever title or some way you remember what they're all about, which shouldn't be too hard. And the goal is to reflect on these stories and narrow it down to 6 stories you feel like are very powerful. Powerful moments that shaped who you are today. Once you have that list fine-tuned, here's the next and maybe one of the most crucial steps. You need to share those stories. Share those 6 stories you've kind of selected as the best of the best. Who are you going to share them with? That is major. You need a partner who understands what you're working towards, that you're trying to unlock your personal individual why by reflecting on stories. And you need a partner who's in this fine line. They can't be a family member or your dearest friend who probably feels like they already know who you are and can already define you themselves. We want to avoid some of the bias that might come with that. We don't want someone to know you super well. We also don't want a total stranger who knows nothing of you. It's that fine line of a friend that you feel comfortable approaching, but you feel like doesn't know you through and through to the point where they'd have an absolute confident conclusion about who you are. We don't need someone to just tell us our why for us. We need someone who knows us enough to help us go on the journey of self-discovery. That partner selection can be one of the most important things. So I hope you start making a list of candidates. Who's toting that fine line? And who's willing to go on this journey with you? Because what's going to be required of them is to sit down, to listen to you tell your story one at a time, and please make sure you go into depth on your stories. They need to listen, and they're going to take notes. And this is for you to explain to them. They're going to take notes on your story. They're going to come up with questions to ask more about the story, to dive into more details. They're going to ask what, when, where, how-based questions about components of the story. They cannot ask why questions, because that's what we're trying to figure out here. So they can't say, why did that make you feel the way you felt? That's what we're trying to get to, so it gets a little redundant there. But they're going to ask you, what about that story is so important to you? What about that moment is impactful? When did you realize this was a major point in your life? Questions like that to really get you to analyze the stories you're telling and pull some deeper meaning. That's up to them to come up with questions based on the stories to ask more about, and for them to document themes they are hearing. As they're listening to you, what are some buzzwords, some common things you keep telling them based on the questions they're asking you? You're going to do that for your first story, and it's going to take some time. I hope you don't just spend 3 minutes on one story and move on. This isn't about getting it done by the end of the day. This is going deep as long as it takes to get through these 6 stories, so your partner feels like they've dove deep and asked all the questions they can think to ask to really get a grasp of why that story mattered to you. So once you're done with story 1, and them asking these questions, writing notes, identifying some themes, they're going to move on to story 2. Repeat as long as it takes. When I did this exercise, one story took 30 to 45 minutes for me because my partner really went deep, and when I switched, I went really deep with my partner to do due diligence. So again, you need a partner who's really willing to commit to this with you, and hopefully they want to do it themselves so you can be this partnership helping each other discover this stuff. These stories are kind of like this land for us to dig into and start searching around for with our partner's help. And now it's up to you to sift through all the dirt, all the information they pulled, and find these little nuggets, these common threads we keep hearing about. In all the stories, or a lot of the stories, the same thing kept popping up. That's worth documenting. That's a theme to write down on your list of themes. Once you have those themes, these building blocks to work with, you're going to start playing around with those themes, these key buzzwords, phrases, these messages that kept popping up in all of our stories. And now you're going to do step 3. Step 3 is crafting that why statement. That why statement is taking all these feelings, all these beliefs, everything you're all about, and putting it into words. Using the themes we've identified, again, as our working material to start crafting, to start melding, to start ironing into this powerful statement. Now, your why statement, there's some architecture to it, as Simon explains to us. Your why statement should be to blank so that blank. So let's think about that. That first line of your why statement, to blank. To blank is your contribution. Everything we do is about leaving a mark on the world around us. What we leave behind, what we give to the world. So that first one is to blank. That is our contribution that we provide to the world around us. Everyone has one. What is our, as an individual, what is our major contribution to the world? So that's to blank. The second part of that, so that blank. That is the impact portion of your why statement. So here is what you do for the world, and here's why it matters. What you contribute because the impact matters. Literally, if we broke this down, it'd be to contribute so that there's impact. In its purest form, that's like what a why statement is all about. So there's what you contribute to the world, and why does that matter? What is the impact of that contribution? Why should we see that as valuable? To blank, so that blank. I've gone through this journey. I've compiled stories. I've narrowed it down to my 6 most impactful stories about my life. Some of them were uplifting stories. Some of them were bottom of the valley type stories. And in doing so with my partner who's committed to this, he helped me identify some themes. Again, this working material. I started playing around with these words that really spoke to me. And after multiple drafts, I've arrived at my current why statement that I feel really good about. This why statement for me as an individual, to give you an example, this is Connor Johnson's why statement, is to provide moments of wonder and growth so that people see their world as a more magical place. I contribute moments of wonder and growth so that people realize their world is more magical than they currently see it. I love giving new ideas, new concepts people haven't previously considered, to open their eyes to this new lens, this new way to see the world, and realize, wow, there's a lot more going on here, a lot more out there for me. There's something magical about that to me. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm sharing this with you. These videos I'm doing, this is channeling my why. To provide moments like this of wonder and growth so you realize there's something magical out there that you weren't previously aware of. This why stuff you can discover. There's something amazing about that. That is my why. And that doesn't have to sound special to you. It doesn't have to sound great to other people. It's as long as whatever you craft for yourself feels amazing for you right in here. And I'm telling you, that statement helps me make sense of why I'm on this earth, what I'm here to do. And everything I do, at the heart of it, is that why statement. And things I'm doing that aren't in alignment with that, that's a sign for me to focus on what I want to be and what I want to be doing. It is a wonderful roadmap, a guiding principle for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish with my life with a true sense of purpose. Again, this isn't due tomorrow, this isn't due by the end of the week, this is due on your time as you make it a priority as long as it takes. And you're not going to have it right the first time. You will have versions, drafts that you will continue to refine, and I hope you continually come back to this and refine it, redraft it, and as you continually think about this, I don't doubt you're going to come to something you really feel good about, and may that why statement fuel everything you're doing in real estate. What you want to do as a realtor, may it be fueled, may what you do be unique based on your why statement you come up with for yourself. Man, I'm getting so excited talking about this stuff. There's the 3 steps for you from Mr. Simon Sinek. Take some time right now, make a plan. Here's your homework. When will you start this by? Who are your candidates to be your partner? What will your start date be?